After you spoke with him, I mean, your gut feeling, what do you think going on over there?
The Dumas is one of the most haunted places in Butte.
Yeah.
And, you know, if there is like a passageway in there, I mean, God knows what came through there.
Yeah, there's one thing about that Dumas Brothel. It's got a long, mysterious, dark history.
I mean, it was the longest running brothel in America. We have murders, suicides, people that, the women probably lost their minds, and that's powerful. There was just no value, placed on human life. This town, is a mining town, and, it just was born upon the precipice of greed. Those are all the ingredients that make a dark haunting, and that can bring malevolent energies into a building and open these passageways. Feel the darkness here.
You can feel that footprint. It's pretty solid here.
What up, home slices, home fries, and homes of other varieties? Today we are going to be reacting to The Demon Files and their video called Real Exorcism Documentary. And this has to do with the Dumas Brothel in Butte, Montana. Spirit told me to react to this, and I was like, okay. Usually when Spirit tells me to do stuff, I just do it. And there's always a good reason as to why. And with that being said, I'm just going to give the quick disclaimer that I did a pre-channel, which means I channeled information before watching the video. And then, of course, after that, I did watch the video, and then I took notes as I was watching it. Notes will be uploaded on Patreon. So, I have my notes here. I didn't go through the entire video. It was over an hour long. I think I went through the first, 45 minutes, and then I stopped. I might go back and look if there's a real exorcism. I'm gonna check that out, I guess, later and film this in batches, but I got pictures to show because I did see some effed up things, and it'd be fun, I guess, for you guys, the viewers, to see what I'm seeing, and we'll go from there. So let's crack into the pre-channel first. Now, sometimes when I channel locations or things, whatever, sometimes it takes me a long time to get connected. However, and I think this is partially why Spirit was like, do it. I was like, okay. But I connected so fast. So fast. And sometimes, like, the really negative things like to hide. Not this one. This one didn't even pretend to, play games. It was just like, here I am. But there is a dark entity there, among, like, other earthies and things. But there is one really dark thing. And, at this pre-channel, I'm going non-human. Doesn't necessarily mean demon. At least at this stage where I'm channeling, I'm at non-human here. There is also a brunette woman that I was seeing, and I was seeing a man. But there's other earthies there, so I'm not saying that those are the only things there. These were the ones that were the strongest that I picked up. So we got a really bossy, I would say, descended male earthy. We have a brunette female earthy. Those guys were coming up the strongest. Now, obviously, there is other stuff there, like fractals I was seeing. Lots of energy. And it has to do with the activities that took place at this location. And the type of activities left more of a heavier type of residual energy. And I was also feeling a lot of violence. I was feeling... Okay, we'll get into that. But I want to go back to the negative entity since it reared its ugly head, like, first. So, at first, it took the form of a brunette Victorian woman with messed up demon-looking teeth, pale skin, claws. It looks like an entity that I've seen previously that I can't mention yet until other people make their videos. But this thing looked like a Victorian woman with a dress, like a dark dress, and creepy. But I know that isn't human, and it's mimicking some of the earthies that are there. And, not gonna lie, this thing, at least it pretending to be human at the time, that's one of the scariest things I've ever seen. I did a drawing for Duran, which I can't show yet until he does his thing with Chastity. But when I do, just know that this entity was looking much scarier than that. And that's saying a lot. And a lot of times, too, it's not like it was trying to trick me. But given the types of energies at this location, this entity can shapeshift, for sure. Not even a question. And as I was saying before, it takes on the shape of some of the earthies that are there, and from the energies that it takes and picks up and things that it collects, because it's also giving collector vibes, it takes on the appearance of the origin from which that energy came from, if that makes sense. But of course, it's not an exact duplicate or replica. It's still all freaky deaky and looks similar, but with its main creepy features, if that makes sense. I was feeling a warm touch on my chin, which I felt was weird. Sometimes when I get touched, I get it on my arm. Usually it's here or my head, but it was my chin. It was like, I don't know. It wasn't like a bad feeling. It was just like someone was holding my chin like this, which is kind of creepy, not gonna lie. I was feeling pressure on my back, and usually that's my sign that there's an attachment involved, or multiple, that was picked up from the location. The location literally sucks the life out of you and can cause, and when I say location, I mean the entities and spirits that reside there, can cause illness and fatigue. I was getting a lot of rundownness, a lot of sickness. Energetically, the place looks like a giant void that sucks the energy from a person, and the energy is thick. And it was strange because if you look at it like it's a dollhouse, right? The lower you go, so from the first floor down, the void just becomes thicker and thicker and thicker. So I found that interesting, and I'm getting chills as I'm reading my notes. Oh, one thing that I kept feeling was strangulation and something around my neck. And like I couldn't breathe, couldn't talk. It was very like stuff around my neck. I did not like that. Part of it kind of feels like strangulation, like a murder or abuse, but it also kind of feels like someone may have had a rope around them or hung themselves or both. But there was a lot of stuff going on with the neck. I did not like that. I don't know if this has to do with anything, if this was just one of those random things that sometimes interjects, but I was seeing a Freemason symbol. I was also seeing somebody tied down. 50 minutes into channeling, I needed an energy break because I felt like I was gonna pass out. So, skip a few days, because I started this on the 21st into the 22nd, because I think the time I started channeling was around like 11:30 p.m. at night on the 21st, and then to the 22nd, and then I was like, you know what? no, I need a break because I felt so tired. And I think the next day I slept 14 hours. Not good. And then we picked back up today, which is the same day I'm recording, aka Christmas. And I picked back up at 12:38 p.m. And I'm noting the time too because all day I was fine. And then the second I got back into channeling, I started getting a headache. And I had to take some Tylenol Advil around 1 o'clock p.m. So that's So that's about around 30 minutes after I started channeling again. But yeah, I had 0 headaches. So I thought that was weird. And speaking of the headache, a lot of the pressure I felt here and here. And yeah, the very top of my head. At this point, the female earthy starts getting stronger energetically. So I can feel her coming in. And I was feeling a lot of the energy of that place, which was very... Well, it's a brothel. You can put 2 and 2 together. But I was feeling that type of energy. And then the male earthy, bossy AF. Very controlling. It feels like he tries to control the female earthies that are there. Then I start getting dizzy and disoriented. Had to take like a 2-minute break from that. I kept getting glimpses of a body of water like a lake nearby. But claircognizantly and clairvoyantly, Spirit is showing me this body of water where bodies are being dumped. Not sure if there was any correlation to it and the brothel, but figured I'd take note of it just in case. It could just be from the area and a high source of unaliving people or dumping bodies. And maybe it might have some correlation to the brothel because I do feel like there was murder there and they had to dispose of the bodies somehow. I keep seeing energy clusters, like pre-thought forms of negative human emotions. The darker energies turning into the faces those emotions came from. There seems to be a lot of pain and suffering. They kind of look like this, but like different variations and different faces. But there's some that are like crying, screaming, frowning. They're not really conscious or anything, and the bang in the background was the dog. And then I see the main negative entity, the non-human one, in more of a non-human form. Looks like a brown gargoyle thingy without ears or horns. Very animal-like in the face. And again, collector vibes. It's collecting some of the souls that are around and feeds off of that energy. And it's feeding off the fractals. It's feeding off the residual energy. It's feeding off the tourists, if there's any tourists. Whomever comes by to look at that place, it's feeding off of that. The owner, for sure. Previous owners, absolutely. Anybody in the vicinity, this thing is not stuck or bound by the walls. It almost has more of a free reign than the other things there, which doesn't surprise me because it's gonna want more food. It's gonna feed off things. So if there's any like homes or apartment buildings, anything very close in proximity, those guys might be affected energetically, but not as much as those that go inside the Dumas Brothel. Again, I was feeling a lot of violence, pain, and suffering, and anger. Was seeing a woman curse her attacker. There's a lot of variables that took place to bring the entity there, not just one thing, and there's plenty of energy to feed it and other spirits there. Again, I make another note of murder. There's a lot of things that keep repeating. I kept seeing ovaries in a uterus, unwanted pregnancies and botched abortions, secret pregnancies and childbirths, and again, murder. of the babies that they didn't want. Second time seeing a seance, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were other things there. The fact that this non-human entity's there, yeah, things can attract stuff like that, but typically when you have that type of malevolent spirit or entity, something usually brings it there or invites it there. And with the energetic vibration that's already there and it's already negative, it kind of like brings it even more. Or at least it brings the thing that matches that energetic vibration. So you have murder, you have violence, abuse, babies being unalived, and then you do something like a seance or a Ouija board or whatever, you're gonna bring something really effed up. Really effed up. And I feel like the seance, though, was probably during... There's multiple things, though. I feel like there was multiple things going on at separate times. So, during the time in which the brothel kind of was established was during the spiritual movement, where people were doing seances and Ouija boards and those things. But I also feel like there were other types of things going on too that were more recent. But this negative, malevolent, non-human thing was brought here. And then that's where my pre-channel ends and I start the video. And oh boy, did I get validated. And I got really excited. So we are going to be inserting some clips here. Again, please go watch the full video to give the original creator their credit, but also full context of the situation.
There's been some issues over the last year and a half or so. Just seems like things have gone downhill a little bit.
What's changed, since the last time Scott and I were out here?
We've had a couple people get choked upstairs on the second floor. A couple of people have been charged. I'm not even sure what happened with one of them. He just told me that he had a negative incident upstairs on the second floor, and I haven't even gotten it out of him yet what exactly happened.
Do we know what the person was doing when they were choked?
This particular person was just sitting on the couch right behind you asking questions.
Like asking questions like he was doing EVPs or?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I was downstairs when it happened. I heard it, but I didn't actually see it.
Has anything like that ever happened here before? Or?
Not as far as I know, but it happened about 6 days later again as well to a different person.
Jesus.
Wow. In the same room?
No, right here.
Oh, wow.
Around the corner. Person from the same group happened to come up and find me standing like this, kind of the universal sign that I'm choking.
It felt like something touched it just felt like something literally touched my neck. I'm not.
Probably.
Let me check.
It's like a feather, like a light.
What did I say? I said the choking. That can be kutu. That is validated. Oh yeah.
Been any signs that people have done like any witchcraft or occult practices?
Yes, Michael and his sister, quote unquote, did some shit with that, like you said, occult things.
Do you know where some of the occult things were done?
Not specifically, but my guess is in this room. I walked in here one day turning on the lights one morning. Something slammed this wall, like so hard the room shook.
Jesus.
But it felt like it slammed it from the other side.
Occult-like things? Like what? They don't really say exactly what. I suspect maybe a seance or two, or maybe a little Ouija board situation. That doesn't surprise me. Also, if there were other groups investigating, it wouldn't be surprising that they're obviously going to have equipment and communicate with anything that's there. So again, that kind of brings the stuff, but the non-human thing, I believe, was there for a very long time. A very long time. I don't think it's very recent, but what I will say is I think the person is becoming, and when I say the person, I mean the owner, is becoming more aware. So it makes it feel like it's newer, but it's not. It's just been there, and now they're noticing.
So I know there was an owner in the 50s, right, who...
Yeah, she died. The official record on her death is a heart attack. The owner before them, while he was getting up there in age, Rudy Getzik, he had a couple heart attacks, and he got to where he couldn't really work to save the building.
And the owner before you, he had issues too. I mean, he had some issues where he suddenly passed away too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he died in January of the year, of the same year that we purchased it in 2018.
Okay. Read somewhere too that his sister had passed away as well.
Yeah, his sister died in 2020, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to tell you, that whole like numbness that you described, I mean, that's a little concerning for me, because it's like you got to have your defenses up. You want to be able to sense when there's something negative around you.
Yeah.
That might be affecting you, and if that energy is kind of like depressing your senses, that's not a good thing.
I've always been. I didn't come down here I didn't come down here at all, last year maybe 3 times all year, and once was to see the heater that they put in.
Something in your subconscious telling you not to come down here. It's probably not good for you.
I didn't want to come down here just for the main reason I didn't want something down here that I knew had malicious intent, or that was malevolent, to see me in a weakened state.
Yeah.
Because I was obviously in a weakened state.
The thing that scares me for you is you can definitely see the effect that some of these places have on people over the years. It's like, I've been doing this for 20 years, but you meet a lot of people and develop a lot of relationships, and it's just, you can definitely see the effect that some of these places have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's consistent.
Yeah.
One of Charlie's friends is dead set on the fact that this place is affecting me.
I was telling, that really concerned me, because I was like, I didn't know you lived 4 or 5 hours away. And I was like, wow, like, so just you coming out to meet us here, meant a lot to us. So, whatever we can do to help you out right now, we're gonna try to do.
Oh, I know. Okay. So Spirit told me that when people buy buildings, homes, locations, properties that are haunted, even if they don't physically spend a lot of time around them, or like no time around them, having that ownership still creates an energy cord. There's still an energetic contract there, and especially if there is a physical one as well. So, in other words, you don't have to be there. As long as you have some type of ownership, you still have an energy cord that is created. Not physically going to that location is still somewhat helpful, because the owner isn't getting drained as much and as fast in that regard, but it's still happening, but at a slower rate. So just keep that in mind. So for those who own haunted properties, especially ones that they do it on purpose to make it a business, a good example is Jacqueline Nunez. Even if that person isn't constantly there, they can still be affected by that property, especially if you have a weakened situation, whether it's mind, body, or spirit. You can still be affected. So take that into consideration. And, I don't know, cleanse and protect as you see fit. So around here, The female earthy is being very sexual. Looks like she's given the guy a rated R lap dance. And I see like a male in the back corner kind of like watching. It's kind of like he's telling her to do it and giving her the orders. But like, I don't know how else to describe it. But it is rated R. And I don't want to go into descriptions here because I don't want my stuff to get demonetized. The activities she did when she was alive were programmed into her, making it the only thing she knows how to do, which is why she continues to do them after death, in part. And of course the other part is because you have Mr. Bossy Pants, the male earthbound spirit that's kind of telling her what to do, along with some of the other females. The energy feels like it's an autopilot in a way, and this is where it kind of got difficult to distinguish whether or not it was an actual earthy or if it was a fractal. But I'm going to lean towards earthy because I feel like, as I was saying before, it's because it's pre-programmed into her because that's all she knows. And the guy's given the shots, and she does talk and communicate with them throughout the investigation. But there's a lot of stuff happening in that room. There is still residual sexual energy and earthies around. I'm getting chest pains, which was something that the owner, well, he has heart issues, I believe, and then the previous owners, one died of a heart attack. Doesn't surprise me that I'm having heart or chest pains. And I feel like the psychic they brought in also was having some kind of chest pains too. And I'm clairsentient, so that makes a lot of sense. But with that being said, lots of spirits are drawn there. Part of it has to do with like that energy void situation. Part of it has to do with the negative energy that's already there, and it's something for them to feed off of. Like, it's almost like a revolving door. Some of it is from spirits that were there when they were alive, and some of it is from the surrounding areas.
Eyes that flash didn't hit you. That's
Why are we
weird.
looking weird?
That is weird. The flash should have gone at least.
Why are my eyes all weird?
It just like sucks in all the light, that blackness.
Yeah.
Why are my eyes? Why can't you see? That is weird. What's wrong with my eyes? Why are my eyes like that?
I don't know.
I don't know why.
That sucked up.
I don't know why we couldn't. The flash didn't reach you. I mean, it's there. It caught something else though.
Right.
It's because of the energetic void going on there. It almost reminds me too, like, with the non-human collector thing there, I'm wondering if too it's putting out bait to collect more. It kind of feels that way.
This one. Oh my God. There's a man. There's a man in here that doesn't want people to talk. He looks like a man, but I don't think he's a man anymore. Like he used to be a man, but something went inside of him and like twisted himself, twisted his soul.
The non-human malevolent entity is bringing some of the earthies low in vibration and is making them descended like Mr. Bossy Pants. That doesn't surprise me, especially when you have spirits there and they're in a location long enough, they can start taking on some of that energy and the qualities of the negative energy and non-human spirits too. So that doesn't surprise me at all, and it's actually something I would expect, honestly.
I am saging myself, which helps get rid of the negative energies that might want to latch onto me.
I'm glad she shows herself, cleansing herself as she leaves, because a lot of people forget that. I will admit, I forget a lot of times, and it's not because I don't know that I have to do it. It's because I have ADHD and I forget, and I always regret it, okay? But I know that I'm supposed to do it, and I forget. And sometimes I wouldn't be surprised if it's things making me forget. But I'm glad she shows it on camera, because after every location, you should absolutely cleanse yourself so you don't bring anything back.
Can you tell us who or what this dark energy is?
Satan? Oh, yeah. Where's it?
Mala?
It's like demon names. Oh, right here.
Or Malak? Malak is a demon.
Yeah. That's it.
So this is a spot where one of the owners died. David was saying that they smell sulfur.
That's right.
Go back.
So around here, they're picking up Satan and Moloch on the spirit box. It's neither. The entity there, it's more, the best way to describe it, it's not giving devil, it's giving more like minion. That doesn't mean it's not working under something or somebody, or you know what I mean. But it's not, the entity that I'm seeing is not Moloch. It's not a devil.
David mentioned that Michael used a spirit board in the Dumas. And maybe that helped widen that passageway. Maybe we should use his method of communication and try to contact Michael and see if he can tell us exactly who or what we're dealing with here.
Where do you want to do it? Which room?
I want to do it in the room that he was living in.
You're going to use the spirit board in order to use the same method that the former owner had used before he died to get in touch with the spirits, because it was his method. And you're going to use this light to go into an altered state in order to reach it. But you won't be able to hear our questions because you're going to have the headphones on. And if things get a little too crazy, we are going to pull you out because you'll be in this altered state and you may not know if you're in danger.
This might be our chance to talk to the previous owner who used the Ouija board to open up this passageway. All right, let's do this. All right, the light is going on.
There he says it, spirit board. And then they're like, oh, let's do what the other guy did and use the spirit board and the Estes method and communicate with the things there. First of all, that's a bad idea. Second of all, when that happened the first time with one of the owners, it did make a portal, and I think it contributed to the void in the basement. But all that did was bring the spirits and entities closer to the earth realm. They were already there, but that portal just kind of brought them closer. And any respectable and respectful team and or medium would not be doing what they're doing. No, all that does is make it worse. You know it's haunted. You know there's a non-human thing there. You know there's a descended earthy male, and the women earthies may or may not be being affected by the darker things there. So hey, let's play with a spirit board and make it worse. I'm sorry, but no. Foolish. And to be honest, I'm not convinced that all of that, like this section was legit. Oh, I'm getting burning. I feel like I just got scratched. Anyway, I feel like this whole like thing here doesn't feel legit anyway. Tim kind of feels like he's acting a little bit. My opinion. That doesn't mean that things aren't happening, but there's a little tomfoolery there. but it felt like there was some acting. And I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. But doing that is really stupid anyway. And very dangerous. And you start building any kind of threads through spirit communication in a really bad spot, you're gonna get an attachment. And you can see with Timmy Boy there, he was starting to, I don't know, when the priest bishop guy was doing his exorcism, it was starting to affect Tim, which doesn't surprise me. I don't think he was acting there, but I was feeling there was a burning sensation around the solar plexus, and that tells me what the priest is doing is stirring things up. And as the priest bishop guy is doing his exorcism, I kid you not, I hear a male earthy saying in a mocking way, "You missed a spot." And with that being said, the dark entity isn't completely gone. It's only hiding. I don't think the exorcism was successful the first time around. When you have something that thick with negative energy, it's going to take a few rounds, but also some routine cleansings as well. And if you go in there with the idea of, oh, I'm going to try to remove one thing and not everything, you can get a little funky dunky. But that negative entity, non-human entity, is not gone. No, he might be in hiding for a little bit, but he's not gone. And the issues are just going to continue. And it wouldn't surprise me if the owner all of a sudden has like a major health thing happen after this, because it's stirring up the energy. Tim did his spirit board session, even though they did the exorcism afterwards. I'm sorry, but I don't think what Tim was doing was helpful. Obviously, the priest doing his exorcism is good, but again, it's not solving the problem. They need to do a few rounds of it. And David needs to have his exorcism. Now, I know in the interview with the exorcist guy, he says that he does a lot privately, like the exorcisms and stuff, which is good. And maybe they did David's privately, but he's also going to take a few rounds. It's not going to just be a one and done thing, and he owns that location. So if the main baddie isn't gone and he still owns the location, you're still going to have a problem. So all I can say is I wish the owner luck and good health. That's all I can say. Tim probably will never see this video, but Tim, you better be careful because of how you conduct your investigation. It's not very smart that he did a spirit board session, especially with the demonic thing there. And yes, I'm going to call it demonic. It's non-human. I saw what it looked like. It ain't good. And I'm gonna claim it's demonic. It's rare for me to call something demonic, and I'm feeling that pain around my neck again. It's really pissing me off, honestly. Thank God the video is almost done. But, yeah, it's demonic. It's not good. I thought this was the perfect opportunity to showcase my cards and how you can use them for paranormal investigations. And before I even pull anything, I decided to do a quick card cleansing just to refresh them, since they sit and collect residual energy. Typically when I pull my cards, I shuffle and let them pop out themselves. However, you can do it whichever way you want. I typically pull 7. However, if Spirit tells me to pull more, I will. Or if they tell me to pull less, I will. But I decided that I was going to do 7 until the very end, because Spirit was like, nah, you need to pull one more card. So, yes. If you decide to use these cards in a haunted location, I highly recommend putting crystals around the cards just to keep them clear. Any kind of quartz will work. You can use clear quartz, you can use black obsidian, you can use black tourmaline. It's all good. And you would just pull and go from there. Each card will have something in the guidebook to explain what it is, what it does, etc. And depending on where it falls in the number system, so 1 through 34 is the what, 35 to 53 is the energetic action, and then 54 to 96 should be mode of entrance, and you can go from there, or you can pull however you want. You don't even have to necessarily go by the guidebook. If you're somebody that is very familiar with the paranormal, you can use your own discernment and own knowledge to help guide you. But yes, each card will have their own definition and what each means. So the first card that gets pulled is the Watcher card. Now, the Watcher card can mean a multitude of things, but for this instance, for this haunting, this has to do with things lurking in the dark, watching people that are in the vicinity or touring, or anyone that goes inside the building. There's a lot of watching and waiting for people to slip up or do things that they really shouldn't be doing. Plus whatever other things are lurking in the dark. The next card we have is the Devil card, which, if you don't know, a devil is a type of demon. It's usually a higher ranking demon. Interestingly enough, as you saw in the clips, when they asked what they were talking to, it said Satan and then Moloch. Both are devil entities. This thing is trying to claim that it's stronger than it really is. I personally don't think it's a devil, but it wants to be seen as that. And so it makes perfect sense that the Devil card would pop out. It does fit in this situation. And then we have the Mimic card. Now, dealing with a demonic entity, they are really good at shape-shifting and mimicking things, pretending to be things that they're not. I did see, as I said in the beginning of the video, like, the negative non-human entity, aka the demon entity, likes to masquerade as a human, but it's not, because it doesn't, fully look like one, and it's not really great at pretending. But also, I said earlier too that the energy that it absorbs, it can sometimes take on the appearance from which the origin in which created the energy. That's like a tongue twister, holy macaroni. But it can masquerade as that. Also, some of the earthies, more so the male earthies, can mimic sounds and mimic a person. But I would say, for the most part, a lot of the mimicking is the negative non-human entity, aka the demon entity. Shapeshifter, obviously that's going to pop out. Makes absolute sense. That goes along with the mimicking, and that's stuff that the demon does. And even the descended earthy, the male earthy. There's one really descended male earthy, very violent. He does some shapeshifting too, but it's mostly the non-human one. Then we have the spider entity. Now, personally, I wasn't really looking for spider entities, but it's also giving that vibe of creeping in the corner. I mean, the Dumas Brothel is a perfect environment for a spider entity, so it wouldn't surprise me if there were a spider entity, given the type of location we have here. It's dark. It's kind of crusty, musty, dusty. Feels a bit cold. And it's just like the perfect environment for a spider entity. Plus, there's a lot of negative energy to feed off of. It's not the main bad thing there, but when you have like physical, actual spiders around, typically you're gonna have some astral spiders. Astral spiders here aren't really big. They're just like normal sized, maybe a wee bit bigger than normal size, but yeah, there are some spiders there, and they do take energy from the living, but they're not the main source of the issues. Not anything really to worry about. Even regular houses will have astral spiders hanging around. Next up, we have invitation. Again, doesn't surprise me. Why? Because in order to get this demon or demonic entity, you had to have invited it. And, you know, the owner does say that one of the previous owners and the sister did do some occult stuff, Ouija board stuff, and I was seeing seances. So that is a good recipe to unintentionally invite anything into your space, especially something negative. And yeah, that's exactly what happened here. And it created a portal and it brought them closer. So fun, fun, fun. And then the next card is the entertainment card, which can encompass quite a few things. Obviously, it's a brothel, which is a source of entertainment for certain types of people. You can also consider the fact that Demon Files is a YouTube channel and he's filming content for entertainment. And we're watching it, and it's a form of entertainment. And people tour the building because it's historic. It can be in the form of entertainment. So there's multiple entertainment aspects here. People ghost hunt there. People do seances there. There's so many things that you can consider as entertainment. However, it does bring in certain energies depending on the type of entertainment or things, activities that are going on. And brothel activities brings in a certain type of negative energy, unfortunately. So at this point, Spirit was like, hey, you should pull another card. And I was like, okay, so I did. And we got chakra imbalance. And why is this pertinent to the situation? Well, that's because the spirits and the entity involved in this location can affect your chakras. And let's use the owner, David, as a perfect example. He is numb to the activity. It's hard for him to feel certain things going on there, whether it's really negative or just like, I don't know, neutral, and it's just the spirits doing their thing. But the demonic entity has made it to where his senses are dulled and kind of has him blocked energetically and psychically from him perceiving certain things. Now, it's not 100% blocked. There are some chakras that are open, but for the most part, his third eye chakra is suppressed. His crown chakra is suppressed. I feel like his root chakra is a little wonky donkey, and solar plexus is a chakra that multiple people have issues with when going to that location. And yeah, entities like that can mess you up through your chakras. Not to mention, you have the other energies in the location, including the earthies, the female earthies, and they have their issues, right? And most of their issues kind of fall between the root, the solar plexus, the sacral, the heart chakra, usually the first four, and that can affect the chakras there. Not to mention the activities that they do to some of the guests there kind of sully some of the chakras there, especially the root chakra and the sacral and solar plexus, especially around those that kind of control the sexual parts of the human body. Yeah. And fun fact, negative entities, whether it is demonic or just descended earthies, they can block you from receiving help from your guides or benevolent beings. However, in this case, because the exorcist did his cleansing, it opened it up for David, and he does have help coming in for him. And yeah, so I'm gonna end this video here before I get any more pains and things. But guys, if you like this type of content, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to comment down below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything, let me know. I like to read and reply. And yeah, so again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Peace out.
Deep within the silent dark, I found a flame, a tiny spark.